Sir, naglo-loading po. Starting event.
Okay. On air na po tayo.
Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Attendees. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hello po sa lahat ng mga taga-TUP Cavite, sa mga taga-Tubigaraw City. Thank you po for joining. Good afternoon from Brokenshire College. Thank you. Meron po din tayong taga Dagupan City, Pangasinan. Good afternoon po. Good afternoon sa lahat ng mga nag-join. Thank you for attending our webinar for today. Yes, maulan po dito sa amin. Maulan po dito. Parang maulan sa buong Pilipinas.
Actually, dito man paulan pa lang. Kumikidlat na.
Good afternoon from Malasigi, Catholic School Library, Malasigi. From Universidad de Manila, good afternoon po. From UP College of Law Library, good afternoon. From Pamantasan ng Cabuyao, Laguna, hello po sa lahat. Hello, Ma'am Ellen. Good afternoon sa lahat. Good afternoon from QCPL. Hello, Ma'am Valerie Medalla. So we are going to start. Start na po tayo. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just turned the power on to formally start our webinar for today entitled Remote Learning Resources and Guidelines of Libraries in the New Normal. This is your webinar host for today, Ms. Melanie Lynn Morales Calope, on behalf of the Philippine Librarians Association Incorporated, Eastern Visayas Region Librarians Council, and in partnership of Regalo Touching Lives with the rest of the members. To all 641 and coming attendees of today's webinar, welcome aboard. This COVID-19 pandemic has greatly affected the educational system, not only in the Philippines, but the whole world. In order for the libraries to adapt to the educational modes of instruction, we need to create noise by giving our library services in the new normal. And since most of the libraries have limited budget, we need to provide learning resources in the offline mode so that students, teachers, and even parents remain connected and engaged with the library resources while studying or working from home. At this time, make sure to sit back, relax, and set your portable electronic devices into webinar mode as we start the program with prayer, followed by the singing of our Philippine national anthem.
Let us put ourselves in the holy presence of our Lord. Our dearest Heavenly Father, thank you for making all things possible. We are grateful for all the blessings you are pouring upon each one of us, despite the challenges we are all currently facing. Thank you for blessing us today with the wonderful opportunity to meet virtually and learn together in the awesomely exciting webinar. May your blessings of wisdom and guidance be upon us, all through the sharing and impartation of knowledge and skills by our resource speakers, facilitators, and moderators. May all of us learn together, upgrade our competencies, and capacitate us to be the help in the development of our learners' lives and communities in the spirit of your love and generosity. May we now humbly commit every part of this webinar to you as we all bring you the glory, honor, and praises for your kingdom and holy name's sake. All this we pray in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, hewas ng sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa dikit mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinagang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitingin, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang may di magtitingin. Lumalang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hinigaya ng pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to direct your attention to the video presentation for our opening remarks delivered by none other than the Philippine Librarians Association Incorporated President, Ma'am Emma Ray.
Just after the World Health Organization announced COVID-19 outbreak as pandemic, this was on March 11, an article entitled COVID-19 Why Librarians Are Amazing in Times of Crisis came out. This article by a certain Claire Brown talked about the new working environment and how some professions, I am not naming the professions, are struggling with their unfamiliar environment, meaning work from home arrangements. This unfamiliar environment consists of accessing office systems remotely, difficulties in internet connectivity, logging in for work, remembering passwords, etc. And while some professions are unprepared, the article said, any library person will tell you that the key to continuity is efficient information management, and that means reliable access to know-how systems, online database access, current awareness, etc. Why is this so? Because the article said librarians are trained to work effectively in a climate of ambiguity. My webinar friends, mga suki ng webinars, fellow librarians who have joined us today, good afternoon. A big thanks to PLAI-Eastern Visayas Region Librarians Council for organizing this webinar on remote learning resources and guidelines of libraries in the new normal. To the Regional Council President, Ma'am Rodora Navarro, and her team of officers, PLAI members of Eastern Visayas Region, thank you and congratulations. At kay Mr. Carlos Eclevia Jr., walang katapusang pasasalamat sa iyo at sa regalo touching lives para sa palagiang suporta sa PLAI. You started it all in April. Our very first webinar is harvesting the fruits of your initial effort. Congratulations. UNESCO's figures state that more than 1.5 billion students, or 90% of the world's student population, have been affected by temporary closures of schools and universities in 2020. This is due to COVID-19 crisis. And because of this, educational institutions have been forced almost overnight to switch to remote learning platforms and devise alternative teaching methods. Online learning gets its moment due to COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 has already pushed remote learning mainstream. Philippine schools, colleges, and universities have gone online. This situation has caught many institutions unprepared and forced educators to learn and write course packs, learning modules, remote delivery of course content, etc., to shift to an online mode of teaching. Many institutions that were reluctant to change their traditional approach had no option but to shift entirely to online teaching learning. Remote learning is where the student and the educator or information source are not physically present in a traditional classroom environment. Information is relayed through technology such as discussion boards, video conferencing, and online assessments. It also refers to educational activities that have a variety of formats and methods, most of which take place online. There are a number of online options available for communicating with students, collecting assignments, and distributing educational materials. As online learning gets its moment due to COVID-19 pandemic, librarians are also getting their moments. As online education became mainstream, the focus shifts to how librarians and libraries will continue to meet their mission, goals, and objectives of providing electronic resources to meet the growing demands coming from teachers, students, and the publics. Librarians need to find ways of assisting their clients according to their schedule, time, and learning environment. Opportunities for librarians to learn current technologies in the delivery of library resources and services to include delivery via online instruction, websites, videos, tutorials, television, blogs, etc. should be available. And I am very glad that our PLAI regional councils are doing their part in their respective areas. These things we will get a chance to learn today. I wish that we will have a successful webinar with our very able speakers. Good luck, good day, and keep healthy everyone until we see each other face-to-face in future library conferences. Maraming salamat. Mabuhay PLAI Eastern Visayas Region. Mabuhay ang PLAI.
So while waiting po no, kay Ms. Mels, I think na-drop po siya, maulan po sa kanilang area ngayon. Ito po yung mga house rules natin ngayon. So kapag if experience low connection po, just click on refresh button. Or if you want to view the live webinar, pwede po kayo pumunta sa YouTube. Meron na po mga nag-share po ng mga YouTube link. Then, second one, if your video naman po nag-stop, click on refresh. Okay? So, depende po ito sa internet connection po ninyo. So, kung medyo mabagal pong internet connection, mahina pong pumasok yung live streaming na sa inyong mga laptop. Then, write your questions po or any comments sa chat box ng Webinar Jam. Okay? Tapos, kung maaari po, we could recognize you kung anong school po kayo. At the same time, ano pong region po kayo ng PLAI. All questions po will be answered during the question and answer portion after the speaker. Actually, after po ng first speaker, magkakaroon po ulit tayo ng question and answer. Then after po ng second speaker, may Q&A na rin po agad. And then, some of your questions may be answered by our webinar host, moderators. Yes, pwede po siyang magbigay ng kanyang opinion regarding po sa mga tanong ninyo. Requirements for certificates po, you have to be in the platform within 60 minutes. Okay, and then you have to evaluate the webinar. Kung hindi pa po kayo nakapag-register, kasama rin po yan sa requirements, dapat po registered po kayo. Tapos, kung sasagot po kayo ng evaluation form, see to it na kung ano po yung email address po ninyo na ginamit sa registration form ay the same, parehas po, para hindi po tayo magkaroon ng problema sa sa system. Okay? So, have fun po and enjoy the webinar. Okay, Ms. Mels. Okay. Just wait lang po, medyo malakas pang ulan sa Eastern Visayas ngayon. Okay, so far po we have 880 participants dito sa Webinar Jam. At the same time po, sa ating YouTube channel po, we have 537 currently watching. So, okay. Let's wait lang po ang ating webinar host. Nag-loading pa po siya. Medyo malakas talagang ulan po doon ngayon. Okay, Ms. Mel.
Thank you so much, Sir Carlos, for substituting. We have some technical problems. We have low internet connection because of the weather today. So as we proceed, please continue to stay relaxed and in the comfort of your homes and offices as we begin our first topic for today. Our first speaker is considered as one of the pillars of Philippine librarianship because of her great contribution for the betterment of our profession. She is currently the Deputy University Librarian of the University of the Philippines, Diliman. She became the President of the Philippine Librarians Association Incorporated in 2015-2016 and in the Philippine Academic Association Research Librarians in 2009. She is a member of the Executive Board of the Congress of Southeast Asia Librarians. She sits in the PRC Continuing Professional Development Council. In 2016, she was selected as an associate of the International Federation of Library Association and Institutions International Leaders Program 2. She advocated for libraries and their role in the achievement of the UN 2030 Agenda and 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Let us all welcome our first speaker, Ma'am Elvira B. Lapuz.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I hope my sound is clear and okay. My presentation is visible to everyone, I hope. Okay, so 912 here in this webinar jam. Just a caveat for now. This presentation is a rehash of a presentation I already did for another PLAI regional council, but when I got the invitation from the PLAI-Eastern Visayas region, of course, I immediately said yes, because this is something that I would like to share with everyone, this presentation, to as many librarians as I can, so that somehow I'll be able to share with you, with the other librarians, how we in the University of the Philippines came up with with guidelines, so that there will be some semblance of normalcy in the way we deliver our services, in the way we cater to the needs of our students, our faculty, our researchers. So, like Miss Mel said, sit back, relax, and let's all enjoy this webinar. I'm willing we can have some minutes for the question and answer later after this presentation. And for those who has listened to me and to this presentation, and just take this as a review. And for those who's going to listen to this presentation for the first time, I hope I'll be able to convey with you new ideas, tips, more importantly, on how you can deal with this new normal in our libraries. Okay, because this is everyone's concern. But as mentioned by our dear PLAI president, we librarians are in a much better position than the other professions, so to speak. No, kasi somehow we are we are still comfortable. Somehow we are prepared in working in a quite challenging environment. Siguro nga all part of the profession, all part of our everyday task as librarians to be working in a not so well, not so easy an environment. We're all trained to be resilient. We're all trained to be prepared. Disasters, tragedies, somehow we have the foresight for that, and we were taught to be prepared for that. And this is one, and this pandemic is one put us in a situation quite unsavory, quite extraordinary. But yeah, librarian shall prevail. Okay, so this topic on creating and designing library guidelines in the new normal is the title of the presentation. And okay, I prepared this with the three things in mind. First, how do we create guidelines in the libraries? What should what we should remember, what we should consider, and then as we work on this, how do we develop this? How do we include things that should matter in our libraries? Um, and then I'll share with you some tips on the how-tos of preparing this draft of our library guidelines. It's not it's not that easy, but it can be done. Okay, always put that in mind. This is one challenge that we have to face, all of us, but yes, we can prevail and it can be done. So, understanding library policies first is the first consideration when we have to come up with guidelines for our libraries. So first, we have to understand that these library policies, going back to some library management terms here, these are general statements or the way we understand, the way we're supposed to understand thinking, okay, so that we can make future decision. This is from Stewart and Moran, our one of our textbooks in library information studies, particularly on the subject of management. Okay, we have these policy guidelines as statements that should define for us, okay, what are the values of our organization, which in turn should help our administrators and our staff, okay, translate those into service priorities. So what are these guidelines? What are these policies that should help us in demonstrating, okay, our value to the organization? I believe this is the rationale on why we should be able to come up with these guidelines. Okay? And policy guidelines are there to establish a standard of service, meaning, okay, this is the way we are supposed to make others understand what we are doing. Okay, para mas madali nilang maintindihan what are we doing in our libraries. Next, when we do come up with policies and guidelines, what are the things, okay, or the characteristic it should have, okay? Policies and guidelines should be consistent, okay? If it is applied in the library, it should be applied to everyone, okay? Be it about your users, be it about your resources, it has to be consistent. It wouldn't help if it is contradicting other policies, okay? For example, we are to deliver a particular service. It has to be consistent with the other services in the library. Okay? Policies and guidelines should be flexible enough, meaning if there's got to be some changes there that we have to include, we can easily do that. Unlike procedures which are firm, those are step-by-step way of doing things. But policies and guidelines, okay, they can be flexible enough. We can change them, we can revise them, we can update them. Okay? Okay, as I said, no, it is easily distinguishable from rules and regulations which are firm. Okay? You cannot just change it as you are applying it. Okay, and it would help if you have guidelines, policy guidelines that are written. Okay, so you can easily consult it, you can easily refer to it. So it would be easier if you have it written. So lahat naman ng policies, when we do it, it should help if it is written. Okay, the new normal. Why do we need these policies in our new normal? Ordinarily now, okay, we're gonna experience this new normal in our homes, in our workplace, in our schools, in the university, in the colleges. We're gonna be experiencing or have to be dealing with this. Okay? So, how do we get in here? Paano po ba tayo napunta dito? Okay. This COVID pandemic introduced us to these acronyms. I'm sure by now we're all familiar with this. Somehow familiar with the term maybe, but until now I have to admit I'm still having difficulty understanding what each of this ECQ actually means in terms of, implementation. Currently here in Quezon City, I'm from Quezon City, we are in GCQ. Okay? Na-lift naman yung MECQ. We're now in GCQ, I think until the end of the month. So, new normal after all this ECQ, MECQ, GCQ, and GCQ are defined as the emerging behaviors, the situations, the public health standards that are soon to be institutionalized, okay, which will become common practice. Okay? For all of us. So lahat ito gagawin na natin until this disease or this virus is totally eradicated. Our new normal will include the actions that will become or that should become second nature to us. I have here, okay, later on, paglabas ko ng office, I have to be wearing this. I also have my face shield. I have with me my hand wash so that before starting work, in between work, I have to be washing my hands. So those are examples of our new normal now. Okay, for us to remain at least, uh, healthy and hindi tayo pwedeng kapitan or dapuan nitong virus. Okay, so to be more concrete about this, I like using this infographic from the Department of Health and the IRTM. Although I'm not going to dwell on this much, I'd just like to share this. Maybe you'd like to also, take a closer look at this infographic because it defines for us, or it contains information on how we are supposed to deal with this new normal in our homes, in our schools, in our offices. So basically, what does it mean if we say this is the new normal in our homes? So these are just, the things that we have to be doing so that we are ensured that, okay, we're gonna reduce vulnerability. So how do we do that? Uh, of course, we have to maintain healthy diet, keep hydrated, keep an exercise routine, which I hope everyone is doing, given that we have more flexi time now. Most of us are working from home. Kami po until now, we're working from home. And then this new normal, okay, the way we deal with this is so that we can reduce transmission. Okay, so that the aim is to flatten the curve, sabi nga. Okay, so that eventually we're gonna get rid of this virus. The new normal also aims at us doing things so that we can reduce contact, and if ever, okay, by some unfortunately we'll have some people still gonna be contracting this or getting infected, is to reduce the effect of this virus, of this infection. And then our new normal would also entail some governance and accountability, hindi lang po para sa atin, from our to our barangays, well, starting from our household to our barangay to the local government. Of course, the whole nation should have this. Okay, we are accountable for our actions. Okay, so we have to follow, okay, this new normal in our homes, in our schools, in our workplace. Okay, like I said, I just have to skip this. So libraries are closed still in this new normal. Kami po dito sa university until now, we really cannot have the libraries fully open. Although I know in your universities, in your school, classes have started. Kami po, we started last September 10, and still we cannot open our libraries because of this pandemic. Now we cannot allow our students to enter the library. So basically we are still closed. So I don't want to think of it as being part of our new normal, because I'm still looking at the possibility that we can open, okay, say in a few weeks or hopefully by next month. Okay. So why do we need these policy guidelines in this time of pandemic and in this new normal? Policy guidelines, okay, will provide for us, okay, the opportunity to establish protocols, okay, and it will be our basis for our future decision making. So how are we going to deal with this new normal? These policy guidelines will guide us or help us, okay? We also need to explain and clarify why we need to close the library. So it has to be part of this guidelines. Okay. And then we have these guidelines as a sort of continuity of operations plan. So magaling tayo dito mga librarians. Like I said, even in this time of pandemic, even in this time of parang extraordinary times, we can still continue to deliver our services. Okay. When we have guidelines, number 4, no? When we have guidelines, we have this sort of a communication plan. Somehow, no, if we have these guidelines in our library, we have a way of communicating to our clients, to our users, to our readers, to the administration. Okay? We have a way of communicating to them what the library will be doing given this situation. Okay? And these guidelines also will define for us responsibilities for library operations, meaning these guidelines will give our staff, our users, okay, exact and concrete way of, okay, how to be doing things or how to be continuing doing, okay, providing service in our libraries. So how do we develop library policy guidelines? First things first. Okay, I would like to give emphasis on this. When we work on our guidelines, we have to think of our main priority. Of course, our main priority, even in this time of pandemic, is, okay, of course, our people. Okay, we have to prioritize staff safety and self-care. We have to make them understand that these are, this is a very, well, I don't want to use dangerous, but this is again a really challenging situation for all of us, this new normal. Okay, so we have to make sure that everyone is safe and is practicing health and safety protocols. Okay, when we talk about our people, our staff, we also have to redefine for them productivity and efficiency. Let me just, remind you, my dear librarians, my dear library staff, that somehow during this time, we have to be able to redefine what productivity and efficiency means. Okay, we may not be as productive, as efficient as before during the old normal, but okay, there are other ways of remaining productive and efficient. So we may have to redefine those. And this is very, very important. For our staff, for our people, we have to stay connected. Okay, however or whichever way you would like to do it. Okay, then next to this, next to our people, of course, we have to prioritize work. So guidelines will provide for us how we're supposed to organize work assignment of individuals. So dapat maintindihan natin when we were working on these guidelines, we have to be able to come up with with an organized work schedule, targets, okay, output goals. So we have to be able to do that for our people in our libraries. And when we work on this, again, as part of our new normal, we may have to find our own rhythm. Okay, especially for those working at home, you will have to find your rhythm and identify this rhythm that should work best for you. Some people work better very early in the day. Others are more productive in the middle of the day. And some, like me, I have to admit, I am more productive towards the end of the day. I don't know why, but in the afternoon, evening, early evening, okay, the ideas are just coming. So I know I work better, okay, during the time of the day. Another work-related thing here that we have to be concerned with, consider the effects of the more use of technology. Um, one of the things that maybe some of us are not really prepared for is this, that we may have to rely much okay, of doing our work, we have to rely much on the use of technology. Admit it or not, sa ngayon po, for the past 5 months or more, we are been dealing using technology more and more for our work. I hope most of you have adjusted. I hope most of you here have have taken a routine or have somehow more adept now with using these various technologies. Okay, as we perform our task as a librarian, as an information professionals. Okay, speaking of staying connected, we may have to be doing more meetings and strategic planning during this time. Medyo na-force po tayo to work on different strategies, and we can only do it by through online meetings. Hindi po kagaya dati na once we call a meeting for all our staff, okay, let's decide on this. How's the best way to strategize on this? We can easily do that, but not anymore. And yet, we are doing more of this now. Okay? I'm sure many of you will agree that we are doing more meetings and strategic planning now because there are lots of new decisions to make. There are lots of new strategies to make. So these meetings and strategic planning for many libraries are actually being done. Uh-huh. So, if we are going to come up with this library policy guidelines, what are the topics or what are the things, the specific details that we have to include? Um, the International Federation of Library Association and Institutions came up with this libraries and COVID-19 key sources. And this is quite useful for us librarians, especially if we're working on defining, designing, drafting our library policy guidelines. Because in this site, in this information from the IFLA, it actually identifies for us already what are these things, these topics, these subjects that we can include in our library policy guidelines. I'm not going to discuss each and every one. I would like you to check on this, okay, identify which of these topics can be applied in your library as you work on your library policy guidelines. Okay, check this website of IFLA so you will be able to, check on these different topics, ideas about coming up or designing, drafting your library policy guidelines. ALA also came up with this checklist on how to work on defining and identifying different topics for your library policy guidelines. So IFLA and ALA, from their websites, you can check on these different topics. Okay, and from this sites, I think there's another one. Okay, the Australian Library Association even came up with this. I think this is more specific in terms of identifying the different topics, the details of coming up with a library policy guidelines. Okay, so you can check on this website, and it should be able to get concrete ideas from these sites. Okay, and from here, as we work on our policy guidelines here in the university, we came up with this specific topics, okay, which we included in our library policy guidelines. So, okay, I pick up from this, from the website of the IFLA, and these are some of those topics that we included in our library policy guidelines. So, we have to set for the gradual reopening of our library. The gradual or by phase opening of our library. So we have to be quite, forthcoming with this. We have to define, we have to describe how we are going to do it in our library, because we just cannot, open the library, okay, when you say, or when the government says it's okay. We have to do it gradually for our students. But right now, we still are not able to do it. Not yet, because we're still in GCQ. And then, as part of our new normal and the health protocols that we have to follow, we have to set the limits on the number of people who can use the library at any given time. So I hope for those libraries who have opened already, okay, you're applying this, you have to set limits on the number of people you can actually be in the library at any given time. Okay, we have to be quite clear on building safety and cleaning protocols. Okay, again, part of the new normal. And we plan for minimal or no face-to-face library transaction. Okay, on this part, the struggle is real, sabi nga. Until now, no face-to-face library transaction for us here in the library. What we have is curbside services or mga drop boxes. So if the student want to return books, if the user would like to ask questions from the library, we have to do it online, but no face-to-face library transactions yet. Okay. We have to develop protocols on dealing with anyone showing symptoms. So if ever we're gonna open and we're gonna allow use of the library and allow users to enter the library, we also have these protocols on how to deal with anyone showing symptoms. I'll discuss that later. And then we also have to continue training and provide for capacity building our staff, okay, on health and safety protocols. So it's not enough that they know the basic. It's not enough that they know why they should be following these protocols, but we have to continue training them so that they can also, train others or teach others. One thing that we've been doing on a regular basis now is continuing to promote our online services. This is quite a challenge because, again, not everyone is quite adept with doing or dealing with online technologies. And many of our staff are quite, struggling in doing this. But, okay, part of the services that we have here, part of the way we want to continue providing services to our students is to continue to promote our online services. Okay. And then, we also plan on having this contingency, okay, just in case we have to return to lockdown, which I hope will not happen. Tama na po ang mahigit ng ilan buwan na ba? Close to 6 months na, no? Na tayo po ay naka-lockdown. But just in case, we're also planning for this. Okay. So, this is the outline that we have in the university on providing, okay, this guidelines. So, bigyan ko lang pong emphasis. Of course, I already mentioned, no, it's important that we have the timeline and the pacing for our opening, and then the work organization, which is for now either we have skeleton workforce, okay, or staffs coming here to the library physically, and of course the work from home arrangement, which most of us are actually doing now. And then we included the services. What services we have to suspend? Masakit man po sa kalooban, there are some services that we have to suspend given this situation. I know sa inyo rin po may mga ilang serbisyo na po kayo na hindi na naipagpapatuloy. Okay, so some of these services we have to suspend, and then some services that we have to offer online or remotely na lang. Okay, so we also have to identify those. And then we also included the protocols for the new normal. This is very, very important, specifically on three things: how to maintain social distancing, handling of materials being returned to the library, be ready to be for the deluge of materials to be returned kasi parang we were all caught flat-footed we hindi tayo we were not somehow we're not able to prepare for this. So yung mga there are materials that are still with our users, they weren't able to return this. Okay. So kami po nagre-ready for the time na talagang they will have to return all these materials. How are we going to deal with those returns? Of course, we just don't shove them back to our library. There's got to be some ano tawag nila, iko-quarantine din muna yung ating mga libro. Okay. And then, of course, we have to be concerned with building safety and sanitation. So, ang aming po mga utility workers ngayon, they continue to make sure that the building is clean. There were some hygienic preparations they're doing now. So kahit po walang tao, patuloy na sinisigurado ng aming cleaning workforce na malinis at maayos ang library. Dito po sa amin ngayon, in this building where I am now, we're currently having this renovation, and we're transferring to another building, but still we have staff coming to work, so we have to maintain this place as hygienic and as clean as possible. Okay, we included a communication plan, which is, as I mentioned earlier, is very important as part of our communication plan. Ano po? We also have here inclusion of the library resources management. This is a topic which I suppose many of us librarians may tend to overlook, but it is very, very important that we have to make necessary adjustments in terms of what? Defining our budget, allocating that budget, because now we may have to consider, okay, allocating more fund for online resources. Hindi po kagaya dati na, okay, 50-50, 50% for print materials, 50% for e-resources. But now, given this situation, when we have to do more or provide more online resources, electronic resources for our users, we may have to, create some revisions in our library resources management policies. Okay. We also included, okay, this topic on library staff training and development, because it doesn't mean that we were all work from home or we are in a alternative work arrangement. Staff training and staff development should no longer happen. Well, we're all here in this webinar because, diba, we have to continue with our library staff training and development. Okay? So let me just, okay, so why do we have this rationale for most of us here? Because, okay, there was this, there are this national and local directives. Di po ba? May mga IFTA guidelines. So, kailangan sumunod tayo doon. Yung ating mga institutions, may mga pinalabas na memo, may mga pinalabas na guidelines on how we should be, okay, dealing with this situation, with this pandemic. So, ganun din po dito sa amin. So, kagaya po nito, may mga pinalabas na mga institutional guidelines, memos, orders ng aming institution, and we have to follow those. And we made that, okay, the rationale for creating these guidelines that we have now. Okay? So, in developing, in drafting, in designing these guidelines, we included, okay, these general guidelines, which are basically statements on the overall policies of our libraries, on how we're going to deal with our library operations, our staffing, office functions, or what should continue, what should be suspended. Okay, we also included some definitions of specific terms so that it will be clear and easy to understand for anyone who will be reading or referring to this library guidelines. Okay, and we really had a quite a challenging discussion on this, on how to uh, pace our reopening, or what will be the timeline. Actually, we can disregard this for now because hindi rin naman po ito nasunod, because we were come I think July, we were expecting na malilift na yung GCQ at babalik na po sa normal schedule ang library, or at least yung tayo schedule nating lahat, but hindi nga po nangyari. But still, we came up with this on how to gradually open the libraries by phase. So we did this para lang po, guided din kami on when we can actually tell our users na, okay, we're open and we're back to our regular programming, sabi nga, or yung sa aming regular schedule. Pero hindi pa nga po nangyayari because until now, we're on GCQ. Okay. We have to work on our skeleton workforce kasi nga po, this is the alternative work arrangement provided us or given to us. Ano po yung mga considerations dito na define naman po sa atin, and that if we're going to identify staff who will be part of our skeleton workforce, okay, we have to consider those with underlying health conditions or those under medication. Sila po yung hindi talagang pwedeng lumabas, or hindi natin pwedeng i-compel to come to the library and report physically. And then, those who are, sabi nila, dual citizenship na. So, yung mga senior citizens. So, the more senior members of our staff, hindi na po sila dapat din isama doon sa ating skeleton workforce. And those whose residence is considerably distant from the office, yung po talagang magkakaroon ng difficulty commuting. So, dito po sa amin, ang naging policy is those residing inside the campus, okay, will be part of the skeleton workforce. So yung malalapit lang po, yung hindi kailangan mag-commute, will be part of the skeleton workforce. So, what can be done, or what are the tasks that can be performed by this skeleton workforce? So ilan po ito sa na-identify namin. I'm not going to discuss each one of this because it's really up for you to decide. Ano po yung mga tasks that you would like or you would require your skeleton workforce to perform? But these are just some examples of those. Okay, this is, if we have a skeleton workforce, we also have work from home arrangement. And these are some of those tasks that you can, okay, require or have your staff perform, even if they are work from home. Again, these are just suggestions. This is how we are applying it here in the university. So you can, think about your own libraries and which of these tasks or which of these functions they can perform even when they're home in a work from home arrangement. Okay, so we can have a work from home arrangement for tasks on reference, circulation, acquisition, also the administrative tasks. We can do technical tasks like cataloging, indexing, and other library tasks we can actually do in a work from home arrangement. Again, these are just suggestions, and you can just, pick up from the suggestions and apply them in your libraries. So, some of the suspended library services that we have, of course, the use of the different facilities and study areas of the library. This is quite a difficult decision to make, but given that the libraries are closed, so these are the services that we have to suspend. So again, use of library spaces, facilities, and equipment, some reference and information services. So wala munang face-to-face with the librarian. We are not able to allow non-UP users to come to the library. We cannot do physical library instruction sessions, which I really miss. Okay, and we cannot do library tours because of this situation. So suspended po muna yan, mga yan. Circulation or lending face-to-face, suspended din po. We've stopped accepting donations kasi nga po, we have very limited staff working on yung skeletal workforce. So wala po muna, we've stopped accepting donations. And we've also stopped acquiring print resources from now unless strongly justified. Medyo mahirap po talagang decision, but we have to do it. Okay. But we're able to provide remote library service. Again, these are some of those services that we are able to continue providing for our users. So we have our online catalog naman. So our users can continue to search our databases, our users. We can continue to, we are able to continue to provide access to our online resources. No? Ito na po talaga yung parang focus namin ngayon. Which I hope in your own libraries too, you're able to do. Document delivery service is it's become very, very important as one of the remote library service that we're able to offer. Of course, there's we still receive online book requests, there's ebook lending. We are able to do naman kahit na hindi na yung face-to-face, we're still able to continue doing online library instruction, which I hope our students are appreciating. No? Na-appreciate sana ito ng ating mga estudyante. Okay, and just recently, we had to be more specific about this when the university actually asked us to come up with these guidelines for our library users, guidelines and assistance for faculty and students to access library resources in UP Diliman. This is very, very specific to resources that we have here in the campus. So what are the specific items that we have to include here? So what are the available library resources that we have now that they can access online? Since they cannot come to the library, what are the resources, okay, that they can access online? Okay, we also have to come up with, okay, available open education resources. So I think dito na papasok yung curation challenge ng curation talent ng ating mga librarians. So how to, okay, search for these open education resources which we can recommend to our users. So we have to be very specific on the guidelines on how, okay, our student can access these resources, how they can do it remotely. We have this, we are using Easy Proxy for now, but I think we're changing to a different discovery service, no? Another thing is, my dear librarians, no, I hope you're understanding the importance of this, understanding copyright and fair use. Although this is for another webinar, but I hope that you make it part of your continuing education, of your continuing professional development, to be in the know or to be knowledgeable on the provisions of copyright and fair use, because right now maybe some of us are not just aware of it, but there are copyright provisions, restrictions which we librarians should be aware of. Baka lang kasi we are all for justifying na anyway para sa estudyante naman, anyway ni-request naman ng faculty. There are certain provisions there in our copyright law that does not necessarily always allow, okay, for copying of materials, digitizing materials. So we have to be very, very careful, okay, in dealing with these resources, okay, thinking and understanding what copyright and fair use means, okay. We also have to come up with specific policies and guidelines on resources for remote learning. What should help our faculty? What should our faculty get from the library? It has to be very clear to them na there are, okay, actually resources that should help them in their remote learning and their remote instructions. Okay, and this guidelines, mind you, really is up to the minutest details. Okay, so that we can help our users. So we even include here information, instructions on how to connect to the library. Very, very specific, very, very detailed. How they can email us, what our the social media accounts that we have, the contact numbers that we have, the the different platforms that we have. So lahat po yon we included in this guidelines. Okay. So we also have, okay, these protocols for the new normal. Part po ito ng itong guidelines that we develop for the library. So very specific on how to maintain social media distancing, building safety and sanitation, safe handling of library materials. So we have different approaches to this, but for our library here, we have to be very quite concrete and clear about this. So we are focusing on these three as part of our health protocols for the new normal. Again, social distancing, building safety and sanitation, and safe handling of library materials. Okay, so this is one example on how we define for our user what social distancing means. Okay, we control or limit our users in our admission to the library. We configure, we're gonna reconfigure staff workspaces, etc., etc. So just check on this and apply which one you think is applicable to your library. Okay. For our building safety and sanitation, we use as our reference this DOH memorandum. And then we also have a memo from our University Health Service on how to clean and disinfect buildings and offices. Ayun po, guided naman po kami on doing this. I'm sure in your own institutions, you also have this so that you will know how to work on this in your own offices, in your own libraries. And then, so these are again some examples on how we concretize this and how we operationalize this building safety and sanitation. Yan. At base nga po yan doon sa mga memo that guided us in coming up with this guidelines. Okay. Handling of library materials. So some tips here. Okay, I picked this up from the different information sources on how we should be handling our library materials. So we are using book chutes or return boxes. We put them first in isolation, those return materials. We are not using Clorox and other chemicals because they're going to damage our materials. Well, fortunately, we already have a UV sterilizer, sanitizer, pero actually, literature would say that continuous or repeated use of this will also damage our materials. And then, we also identify protective measures for our staff that are handling this book return. So ano po, dapat po protected din sila when they're handling this materials. And then of course, we can still recommend frequent hand washing after they deal with these materials. So we came up with a communication plan so that our administration, our faculty, our students will know what the libraries here are doing. Okay? So the goal here is we have to make our presence felt, sabi niya. Dapat nararamdaman pa rin ang library even this time of pandemic. And mind you, I should say, we've become more important now, actually. So we have to be able to communicate that. Again, library resources management. We included in our guidelines the recommendation to review our collection development policies. As I mentioned kanina, we may have to have a review, take a second look on what policies with regards to our resources we have now. Okay. Of course, there's still other guidelines for our continuing staff training and development. We encourage our staff to participate in webinars, given that this work arrangement, this alternative work arrangement we have is work from home. So they have more flexi time to be doing this. Participating in webinars, online seminars is being recommended to our staff. And we encourage them to participate in webinars, particularly on topics like providing online library services, managing online resources. So yun po, if we are going to make recommendations for our staff on what webinars and trainings they should be participating in, these are some of the very topic that they should be thinking about. No, these three topics here on online services and remote learning and working. Okay, next. Okay, these are just some examples. We're quite busy po, really, this past few months coming up with this guides and infographics for ours. It's because it's not enough that you have this written. Okay, it's not enough that you have these guidelines written. Kung written lang po yan as a document, baka po tayong librarians lang ang makakaintindi at makaka-appreciate. So, for our community to have a better appreciation of these guidelines, we came up with infographics. So, ayan po. And we also make it part of our library promotions. Di po ba? Mas nakakatulong po if very visual tayo di po ba? Very visual tayo. So, if we have this library infographics, it will be easier for them to understand and they'll have a better appreciation of the things that we are doing, that we continue to do as we continue to provide service to our community. So, ilan lang po ito sa mga examples. I would just like to share this with you. Ayan, disseminate information. Disseminate, promote, inform. These are just three key words that you might want to apply in your library. So ito po, we came up with this infographics again so that our students at one glance, can easily pick up the information that we would like them to have about our libraries. Ayan po. Masipag po. Maswerte po kami dito sa university because we have this team of really technology adept librarians. We have our young librarians here who are quite, comfortable using different graphic software. So they were able to come up with this. They work with video editing programs. So madali po sa kanila ang makagawa po ng mga ganitong infographics. Ayan po. So, again, emphasis on making our community understand the guidelines, the policy guidelines that we have. And one of the best way to do it, one of the more concrete ways to do it is through this, through an infographic. email. So again, I saw, yeah, this I saw naman from UST. This is how they prepare their posters, their announcement, okay, for their students. Quite interesting. So, our policy guidelines, the answer, okay? Our policy guidelines, the answer to this new normal in our libraries? I should say yes, because when you have these guidelines, you will be provided with an efficient, consistent, and fair decisions and actions as your basis. So may basis ka talaga. Okay, how to when you want when you have to make decisions and actions in your libraries. Hindi lang para sa iyo, kung hindi rin para sa mga users mo, no? Okay? And when you have these guidelines, you'll have this again basis for an orderly, logical, and stable library operations. Kasi you always have a reference. Lagi at lagi kang merong babalikan on how you should be doing things in your libraries given the situation. Okay. And then, when you have these policy guidelines, it sort of give explanation of the reasons for the procedures that we have now. Di po ba? Mas magiging madali sa atin na i-explain to our clients, to our users, why we are doing these things now. Bakit ganito na natin ginagawa ang mga bagay-bagay sa library? Bakit kailangang online yung services natin? Bakit hindi natin sila pwedeng papasukin? Why are the libraries closed? When you have these guidelines, basically, you will have this reference by way of explaining to them, okay, the reasons, okay, for such procedures. When you have guidelines, you can easily clarify confusing situations. Like, for example, paano gagawin ko? I'm not able to return books. Do I return them given na hindi naman pwedeng lumabas? I am a student. Or should you just stay with me? Paano kung magkakaroon ako ng fine? So, ang ginagawa po namin, very specific kami doon. During this situation, no fines will be incurred. Okay? And you don't have to return the material. So, ayun po, isa lang po yun sa mga examples why we are very, very, very glad that we have these guidelines, okay, for the library. And when you have guidelines, you can avoid conflicts. Kasi isa lang yung magiging basehan ng decision making. Di po ba? Hindi ka pwedeng mag-refer sa ibang guidelines. Kasi if you have your specific guidelines, dapat walang conflict na mangyayari. Okay? You have to have a very clear or at least same understanding of these guidelines. Okay? And when you have these guidelines, your staff will be better equipped to face questions and deal with the crisis. So, ibig sabihin, meron tayong palaging susundan, meron tayong palaging magiging reference on how, okay, we should be doing things in our libraries. So, yun lamang po. I hope you're able to pick up new things or new ideas on how you can come up with guidelines in your own libraries. I hope I can share with you yung one size fits all na guidelines, but we have different needs eh. May mga iba-iba po tayong institutional policies na kailangang sundin. So, kung ano po yung nag-work sa inyo at consistent dun sa institutional policies na meron kayo, yun po yung inyong susundin. Ganun din po kasi yung ginawa namin. Some of these policies may not apply with other institutions. Say, UP is a government institution. Some of our requirements really is not applicable to other private institutions. So, ganun po. Basically, what I gave you is just some tips or some basic information so that you yourselves can come up with guidelines, policy guidelines in your own library to ensure that you're gonna be able to continue delivering service despite this new normal that we have now in our library. So, thank you very much. And if you have questions, okay, I try my best to answer them. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ma'am LV. That was such a very informative topic. It talks about how to do it and the process of doing it, and you have to you have to think about what will be the content of the guidelines. So
Yeah.
there are some things that we have to consider, some of the topics, some of the
Mm.
preparations and everything. Hindi lang kasi gawa ng guidelines. You have to think it over. Yes.
True.
And we have some questions here,
Okay.
ma'am. Um, First question from Marlon Salinas. Good
Okay.
afternoon, ma'am. We use
Mm.
the Open Access Journal and books for applying college program. We have sample guideline on dealing with library clearances during this time of pandemic.
Library.
Library clearance.
Okay.
Yung,
Okay.
yung
Library clearance.
clearances
Okay.
during pandemic. Yes.
Mm-mm. So, what's the question?
Maybe it's um mer- oh no. Marlon is asking for open access journal and books for applying college program. So what are those? Maybe he was referring to
Ah,
the the online resources. It will be discussed later of the
oo,
next
baka
topic.
baka mas
So
I'll give the other speaker our next speaker the honor of answering that, because I know he'll be in a much better position to be able to answer that, because that's Kevin's very topic, 'di ba Kevin? Yan mismo
yes,
yung
ma'am.
topic ni
So
Kevin later, eh. Oo.
here is another question, ma'am. So,
Mm.
do you have sample guideline on dealing with library clearances, yung mga
Ah,
library clearance
okay. Okay.
during pandemic?
Okay. Na-mention ko kanina, 'di ba, na well, for one is we suspended um, charging like overdue fines. Kasi I mean we realize na that's the right thing to do, and given the situation, there's no way for our users, our borrowers, to be able to return the materials that they borrowed, no? So we suspended that muna. And then sa clearances naman, okay, I hope I'm going to discuss this in detail, ha. I-answer ko to in such a detailed way on how we are doing this in the university. Okay, ganito. Clearance meaning kailangan nila mag-clearance para makapag-enroll, ganun ba?
Yes.
Or kailangan nila ng
Opo.
clearance so that they can be officially graduate kung graduating sila, and then apply for TOR. Parang ganon. So, again, very specific to. What we did is we issue temporary clearances. Okay, temporary meaning
Yes.
it will allow the student to enroll for this particular semester. But the accountability, be it an overdue fine or unreturned book, remains. Ibig sabihin, accountable pa rin siya doon, pero he or she will be allowed to continue with his studies. So, makakapag-enroll pa rin siya, mabibigyan siya ng clearance, temporary nga lang, so that he can proceed with this enrollment and, continue with his studies for these semesters. Ngayon naman, kung clearance na may kinalaman sa library or the library seeking clearance, I don't know, but I think Marlon here we have to be more specific about is what clearance for the library does he mean? Kasi ako ang basa ko doon is clearance for the students. Yun.
Library clearance.
Yun,
Library
library
clearance.
clearance. So we issue temporary clearance. Yun muna. Kasi nga, suspended naman ng fines and we accept returns. We accept returns naman. And then, kung na-settle na, naibalik na yung libro, that's when we issue them the clearance that they need. Yun.
Okay. Ma'am, meron din isang question. It's something about do you also include yung guideline on the comorbidities na mga kunyari
Uh-huh.
staff mo na may comorbidities? Do
Yeah,
you also include that in your guideline?
yeah. Actually, kanina I made mention na kung yung halimbawa yung mga staff natin, so halimbawa ni-require na natin magkaroon tayo ng skeleton workforce, no? So hindi na natin isasama yung ating mga staff with comorbidities, meaning they will they don't have to be part of our skeleton workforce, or skeleton workforce sila yung the limited number of staff will have to come to the library and report physically. So we gonna exclude them, but there's an alternative work arrangement for them, that is work from home. So they can continue working on a work from home arrangement. But, eto pa, kung magiging imposible talaga because the staff is, well, uh, health-wise ay hindi na talaga po pwede, we may have to rethink that. We may have to rethink that. Because given the
Okay.
situation, they're more vulnerable, they're more in danger of, when they get the virus, it's going to be quite, dangerous for them. Napaka-risky para sa kanila. So we may have to rethink, okay, our policies on dealing with our staff with comorbidities or yung may mga health issues, underlying health issues. May nasa batas po naman 'yan. Kasama 'yan sa DOLE memo, I think. Meron po niyan.
Here is another question, ma'am, from Jenna Mehoy.
Okay?
This is all about the recommendation from the accrediting agency because we are applying for level 2. Now they have recommendation to add more title of books. Since
Okay.
we are in the new normal, are we are they gonna still follow daw yung number of titles? So how to comply for option?
Ah. Well, honestly, I have no idea, no, on how this accrediting agency will be dealing with that, because I suppose there's going to be major adjustments on those policies, given this situation. But you just have to be, up to date of this, okay, whichever accrediting agent association you are under. Uh, but I suppose there will be adjustment. But to be more specific about it, when you say add to the titles, are we referring, or are you referring to print materials? Because that's really going to be quite a challenge to be continuing doing that. Okay, ako kanina I mentioned that we actually stopped. Okay, we actually stopped. Well, not stop. I mean, no more print acquisitions, but somehow the process, okay, been stalled. There are some processes, some acquisition process that we have to suspend, specifically for print materials, and we also stop accepting donations because of, the risk of getting it from, say, from materials being delivered to the library. I suppose accrediting institutions, accrediting associations will be doing their own adjustments because of this situation. You just have to, be knowledgeable of that. Okay.
Yes. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing with us your knowledge about creating and designing library guidelines in the new normal.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you, then. Thank you, PLAI-Eastern Visayas Regional Council. So, I hope I was able to really share with you, and kung may mga tanong po kayo, I'm on Facebook. I can send me an email. So, yeah, let's continue this discussion on library policy guidelines. Salamat po.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am LV. So we shall proceed to our next topic. Okay. So at this hour. Ladies and gentlemen, much as we would like to offer you something to fill in your stomach, we could not do that online. However, you can grab your favorite cup, fill it with hot water, and mix with coffee and cream, and enjoy your coffee. Okay, so we will be sending PowerPoint presentations along with the e-certificate. So you have to have an attendance of 60 minutes in order to get that certificate. And of course, you have to fill in our evaluation survey form. So let us proceed directly to our next speaker. He is one of the most visible and the most dynamic librarians of today. He has been featured as CNN Philippines as one of the founders of Magbasa Tayo movement. He is the product specialist for library management and security solutions at Electronic Information Solutions Incorporated. Let us all welcome, ladies and gentlemen, our second speaker, Mr. Kevin Conrad Tansiongco.
So, hi, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Miss Mels, good afternoon po.
Hello.
Hope you can see me and you can hear me loud and clear. Okay, so we'll start. Okay, so once again, good afternoon, everyone. To all the 1,022 participants that are online right now this afternoon, watching us and learning together with this new normal in our library services. So my topic for this afternoon is promoting remote learning resources in the new normal. We would like to say thank you to Ma'am LV for providing us a very informative discussion and learning session about library policy for this time of new normal. And this afternoon, we'll be discussing more specifically on the promotion and marketing of these learning resources in the new normal. I think this afternoon I'll be discussing more on specifically the idea, the objectives or theories in marketing and what's promotion in general. We have this a lot of resources right now that we have in our libraries, and now we need to go on the strategies and tips on how we promote and market this resources and services. So once again, I'm Kevin Conrad Shonko. I'm a founder of Magbasa Tayo movement, and at the same time, I'm working full-time as the product specialist for library management and security solution of Electronic Information Solution Incorporated. Okay, so this afternoon, my agenda, number one, is to discuss the current challenges for the Philippine Library. And it has been mentioned earlier by Ma'am LV that detailed of what we are facing and what's the challenge in front of our service. Number two, it's to share and analyze how libraries promotes and markets resources and services. And lastly, to impart some tips on how to promote remote learning resources at the new normal. So these are the three agenda that we're going to discuss for this afternoon in my topic. So just to give you a simple description or a short description, what's new normal that we are facing right now, Edelstone says that the new normal typically start with a triggering event, such as a quantum change in the political, economic, social, and or technological environment. This then leads to large-scale, high-frequency, generalized or recurring adaptations to the new situation by a myriad of actors at the macro and micro levels, leading to widespread effects that diverge from the past status quo. So for the information, and I think everyone of us was able to experience it, especially in Metro Manila, in March 16 of this year, everyone was in quarantine. So we have this ECQ at the time to stop the spread of this virus, which is COVID-19. At first, we were shocked. We were like, we don't know what to do next. How are we going to continue because of this unexpected event in our society? Next one, let's define what is remote access. So remote access, it's an access to a computer or a computer system from another location by means of a network connection or online access to learning resources. So that's with the help of internet, the World Wide Web on how we um, serve our clients as of this moment. Next one is promotion. So promotion is refers to the activity of marketing a product, service, or institution to people in a position to buy, use, or support it according to odd list. So this afternoon, I'll try myself to help you have some tips and recommendation on how we promote those type of services and collections that we have. Libraries' learning resources, promotion and marketing of library and information sector is required to make your clients aware of your offering. May it be before that we have our physical libraries, and especially this time of pandemic where our physical libraries are closed, promotion and marketing is a key job that we need to look into and we need to do to promote our libraries. So promotion and marketing is not merely for online learning or for remote learning, but technically it must be a part of our strategies in helping our library image continue to prosper and to make sure that we maximize our collections and our services. Before, according to Patil and Pradhan in 2014, libraries are only considered as treasures of knowledge. It is also known as a storehouse of knowledge. So technically, it's a physical library. It is true that all libraries in the world are full of reading material, which consists books, journals, films, images, manuscripts, audiovisual materials, which is knowledge recorded by peoples, eminent writers, and eminent personalities. Preservation of this knowledge is a prime task of all libraries and information centers. And I do agree that up until now, this is a good definition of what is a library and what's the reason or what's the main objective why a library is there in the center of a community. But the library landscape began to change when COVID-19 came. This was given by IFLA when the COVID-19 starts. Libraries around the world are facing hard choices around which services to offer and how, ranging from minimal restriction to full closure. We are aware that governments themselves are taking different approaches, sometimes ordering the closure of all institutions, others indicating that life should continue as usual, and others simply leaving decisions up to library directors. As of this moment, majority of our libraries are still closed because one of the protocols or guidelines coming from the IATF, it was a recommendation, this library should be closed as a non-essential service. So most likely, if the area or the localities is under MGCQ, those libraries have the option to open it, but protocol should be observed, like physical distancing, wearing of face mask, hand washing areas, and the like. So those are the things that we encounter physically in our library. That's the things we need to consider. But what will happen to the services? What we continue, we wanted to tell you that libraries and librarians should continue to serve, even our physical libraries are closed. And how can we do that? That's where online learning, remote access for learning resources is an option or coming into the scene of the library landscape. So let's go to marketing concept. It is a social and managerial process by which individuals and groups obtain what they need and want through creating, offering, and exchanging product of value and others. This is according to COTRP. Um, this marketing concept is, in general, most of the time we can hear marketing to stores, where it's a management concern, and I think we have it on our courses in library management before. And marketing is one of the best skills that we need to look into and we need to have in our library to help promote our services, resources, and in general, our profession itself. So let's go to need of library marketing. So why we need to think of marketing? So why do we need to promote and do marketing in the library? We can just sit back in our offices, wait for someone to ask for resources, but we can do more as librarian. As what I've mentioned earlier by Ma'am LV, we need to extend our services to our clients, even if it's online. Let's be present to different platforms so that they can see us and they can look for us, and we can have a way to clear things with them of what library can do at this moment. First one is awareness. So through library marketing, number one need is that to inform our clients of what we have in the library. Because if we are not doing any marketing activities, how our clients will know what we serve or what we have at this time of pandemic. The second one is our relevance. To make our libraries relevant, especially this time of pandemic. Where are we? There are some issues before that why do students need to pay library fees? But because a majority of the libraries are closed. Maybe this is the best time to explore and let them be aware that you have something to do with online learning, with providing learning resources online, not merely just having your physical library. So where are we at this time of pandemic? Let's be present on the online world with our clients. Third, attract. To attract users on the library resources, programs, and services on-site or remote, depending on the current situation you are in this time of pandemic. So why do we need to attract? First and foremost, we are a service-oriented work or a service-oriented profession. So we need to attract and to make sure that our library resources have been used by our users. So why we are at the center of our academic community, public community, or special community in an institution or school library, it is to make sure that we attract our users to use our resources. Technically, we need them because we need statistics on the usage and maximizing our resources in the library. So through library marketing, that's a way for us to attract them to use our library services and resources. Next one, to make improvement on the image of the library. So if before our library are just see as a physical library with books, with shelves, with this and that, now it's the perfect time to improve the image of the library. That even online or even our libraries are closed, we are relevant and we are important because we, librarians and libraries, can do more even online. So these are the things that we need to consider. So what's the objective of library marketing? Most likely it goes beyond with the need of library marketing. First, it's to achieve high-level customer satisfaction. And I think all of you would agree, the 1,000 participants right now will agree that we wanted to make sure that we will have a high-level customer satisfaction. We are very happy to hear from our clients that we were able to help them. We were able to provide them the resources that they need. We're able to provide them a literature that they need for the research and the like. Secondly, it's to ensure the survival of the respective institution. Why we need to have library marketing is that, in my understanding, and I think all of you understand this way, that the library is the center of information, information dissemination, access, retrieval in a certain community. And with library marketing, it will assure you that it will survive in terms of your customer usage and the like. And lastly, to enhance the perceived value of the services, it is very important that we enhance how they perceive us, how they perceive our services and um, collections. It's sad to hear that sometimes they would say that why do we need libraries, especially this time that it's already online? We can find a lot of things in the World Wide Web. But the question is, how are you going to find and locate the right information you need from the web without the assistance of librarian? Neil Gaiman said one time that you can find 1,000 of information from Google, but only a librarian can give you the right one. And I think, and up until now, I do believe in that mantra or quotation. Now, in marketing, it's very important to identify who your customers are so that you can create a good strategy in terms of strategies and efforts in doing library marketing or promotion. Usual, we have students, we have faculty and staff, and we have researchers. This is the usual users that we have. But in public library, it differs from the customer segmentation because in public libraries, we are offering our service to all within the community. So we have PWD, we have students, we have senior citizens, we have employees, we have job hunters, and the like. So it would depend on your category or type of library when you're doing your customer segmentation. It's very important again to identify this customer segmentation so that you can specifically design a program or a marketing strategy for each customer in the library because they have their different needs of information or services. Next one, there are principles need to be identified with marketing. In marketing, there are 7 principles of marketing, and these principles are also applicable to LIS. I was able to just want to share with you that my presentation is based on a research from Science Direct. It's a 2014 publication about library promotion practices and marketing of library services, a role of library professionals. So I just took this principle from the research. So these 7 principles is also applicable to LIS by this setup. Number 1, you need to identify your product. What's the product that we offer? Earlier, someone mentioned about open access resources. That's one product. In resources alone, we have different things to consider. In resources, we have print and non-print collection, including e-resources, including electronic resources, journals, ebooks, and the like. At the same time, digitized content. If you have your digital repository, that's another product that you can look into, remote services, and the like. And I think you are most familiar with those different principles. If you have your pen and paper right now, I would like to invite you to join me while I'm discussing the principles of marketing to write it down in your paper. What's the product? Identify each principle in marketing while I'm discussing it. Identify it so that later we can have a sample of your marketing strategy. So one product is OPAC, Online Public Access Catalog, if you have your integrated library system where users can access all your resources. I would love to recommend and suggest to everyone to please catalog every resources that you have in the library and make it accessible through your OPAC. If you don't have yet an OPAC, I think this is the best time that you look into this type of technology so that your resources are available. With regards to OPAC, you have options in using open access and at the same time commercial licenses of library system depending on your capacity with regards to budget and the like. Next one, current awareness services, remote services, or document delivery services. Again and again, product will define or will only be identified depending on your own product in the library. So that's it. Secondly, price. With price, with libraries, I do believe with the research, budget and financial provision is necessary. Earlier, with the library policy discussion of Mom LV, it was also mentioned that budget and financial provision right now could possibly change, or it could be your consideration because of the change of the landscape in terms of resources. If before we have allocation, a higher allocation for print material, maybe right this time you have more allocation on e-resources. I agree that this time of pandemic, I think it's an eye opener to everyone that e-resources is also necessary aside from print materials. Third, the place. Where can the product be available? Right now, maybe you can write it down in your paper on number 3. What's your current condition? Where are you available? Where can the users can check into you? Can check on you. Are you available online? Are you available remote? Are you available web-based? Are you available through hotline phone numbers if the internet is not good? Or are you available only physically? So maybe you can check it out. What's the place in your library situation right now? Where are you right now? Are you already online? That's good. If not, try to look into that and try to check how can you start online. Okay. Fourth, promotion. Promotion is a part of marketing in general. Marketing is the big word for this type of strategy, and promotion is just part of the principle. Promotion is the mechanism by which target groups are informed. Promotion is a way how you inform the people of your service. Most of our libraries right now, they are into social media. They are presenting their libraries, their services, their resources through a social media post, through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and the like, and many more. There are a lot of things that you can look into, study about how to use this type of online platforms, and after that, you can do so about promotion. If before the only promotion that we have is about is on our bulletin board, maybe it's a high time to make your bulletin board online. Okay. Number 5 is your participants. So if you go back to, it's very important in marketing that you know who are your participants or who are your customers, because it's necessary that these participants are involved in marketing, and it's very important that you check on the feedbacks on your resources and services. Why feedback is important? Because it will help you in improving the services. Services, programs, especially programs, it is need to have feedback so that the next time around you can create a better program for a specific customer in the library. Number 6, physical evidence. Physical object is self-defining, but service is not. It's hard to quantify a service because it's not it cannot be what do you call this? It's not a tangible material or what like we have in the library, like books. They can really see it and they can define the material, but in service not. So feedbacks is important so that you can check it out on how you can create a better program or service in the next time around. The same thing for e-resources or for other resources, what you can have the next time around. And lastly, process. Process, it's the process management that includes planning, control, operations, scheduling, quality services, and the like. So it goes all. The process is coming from the time you have the idea to planning to implementation and to evaluation. So those are the process that we will experience in doing our library marketing. So I know some of you are one-man librarian. Um, Sometimes it's so overwhelming to listen to webinars because there are a lot of good things, a lot of good tips that we can get, but we have some limited in terms of workforce. But to tell you, it's okay that you can, it's okay not to adopt it one time, big time. You can adopt it smoothly, slowly to make sure that everything will be fine. So that's what we are um, suggesting and recommending to our one month librarians. But if you need help, just let us know, and we'll try to assist you in doing so. Next one, ways and means of promotion and marketing. So these are just some of the ways where we promote and we market our services. Number one, it's the library website. And library website, when they hear library website, it's quite so technical. They are thinking that I need to have I should be techy enough, or I need to know more about IT staff so that I can start the library website. To tell you honestly, you can start your website as easy as just by logging in or signing up for an open source. So we have like Google Sites, we have Blogspot, we have WordPress, we have Weebly. If you're not that confident to create one, maybe if you have a friend of an IT, or if you have a son or daughter who are so techy about it, try to ask their help. And if you have a staff with you, try to check on this and try to look it out so that you can start with your simple library website. Why library website? A library website is a one platform where your your users will find you and will know more about how you serve your library. If the university, the college, or your institution have this good support from the IT department, try to check on them and try to ask how you can start doing your library website. Maybe they're just waiting for you to call them out and then ask their help. Next one, integrated library system. With integrated library system, this is a system for all your library transactions, coming from acquisition, cataloging, organization of materials in different formats, reports, what do we call this? Library policy, library guides, and the like. ILS is also a good platform for you to promote your library collection. And lastly, the most used way of promotion and marketing is the social media network accounts. I would love to recommend to all to start having their library FB pages. Please don't be mistaken with FB page and FB account. For libraries as institution, it is better to have your library pages. Okay? Library pages can somehow be a way for you to start also sharing open access materials or openly accessible online, where you can get it, you can find it to a lot of library pages and advocacy pages in our group. Social media network, you can use Facebook in terms of providing live videos, live webinar series for your users and the like, and many more. There's a lot of things that you can do with social media network accounts. So aside from Facebook, you can have also your Instagram to promote your collection and services. You can also have Twitter. And some libraries right now are very good in doing and managing their social media accounts. And if you have in mind more ways in promotion and marketing, you can check on that, look into that, and start using it. But these are some of the main ways and means to promote and market your library and resources. Next one is online survey forms. Um, I'm not so sure if everyone is familiar with online survey forms. This is an easy way to get feedbacks from our users. If you're using Google Mail, you can find Google Forms within that Google Mail. So that's one feature of Gmail of Google, where you can create survey forms for your users so that you can easily get feedbacks about your programs and services. At the same time, if you wanted to know about your library satisfactions, the usage, if you wanted to know more on what do they want or what do they need and for the library, especially this time, you can easily get that one through online survey forms like Google Forms. You can have Monkey Survey and a lot. There's a lot of ways online where you can look into. Next one, virtual library assistants. When actually even before we have a lot of libraries who's doing virtual library assistants already. Like for example, in LaSalle they have Laura and others. They have a lot of virtual library assistants. Before, this library assistant was on text messaging. We have that before, but now most of the virtual library assistants are through social media networks. They have chatbots on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and the like. So those are some. In virtual library assistants, you have the option to design your schedule. When are you open? When you can accept um, inquiries or reference queries about something like that or questions coming from the users. You can schedule it, or if you're open for a certain period of time, just post it on your Facebook pages so that your users will know about it. Next one, online library sessions. If before you're doing your library orientation physically in your libraries, it's hard to do it right now because we don't have any users at the school or in our libraries at all. Maybe some, there are a few, but it will be more effective to do online library sessions. Like you can record your library orientation, you can visit your library and do a shoot. You can shoot and record a library orientation and send it with your clients or post it like a Facebook page as a Facebook Live on that social media networking site or the like. So there are a lot of ways. Aside from library instruction or library orientation, you can also do your information literacy program using different platforms. You can use Google Meet for free. You can use Zoom for free, but with a limited time of hours. So there's a lot of ways that you can do to continue library sessions. For especially in school library, they have classes, library classes, to encourage to have the library instruction or the information literacy programs. So you can use different platforms to design this type. You can do it asynchronous or a synchronous type of library session. It would depend on your capacity, on your capability, and at the same time, I would also I would also recommend to please prioritize what is the most need service right now in your institution, because institutions and services varies from different libraries. Um, it is not same in terms of uh, the priorities to each libraries. Okay, so next one, I'll share to you. I'm done discussing different theories in terms of marketing. Like when I'm preparing for this one, I am thinking like this is a marketing 101 for libraries technically. But I think this is more helpful for us because if I'm going to discuss about e-resources, most likely you know it already. It's not new to us. You already know what's remote learning resources and the like. So I designed my presentation as a tips on how to create a better marketing strategy and promotional activity for your library. So here are some best practices of Philippine libraries in promoting and marketing their resources and services. Like for example, the Philippine Normal University Library has this posted on their FB page about their library web OPAC, or the Web Online Public Access Catalog, where you can access and check and search what are the resources that they have in the library. So this is open online, like anyone can access their OPAC. They can search their catalog, and if you are bona fide users of the library, you can easily send or you can easily check on out what are the available resources at the library, and then that's where their library remote services, online database services, library assistance, and they also have waived library fines. So thanks to PNU for letting me use and feature their services with my presentation. So that's one sample from PNU Manila, PNU Library. Okay, next one, the DOST, STII, Science and Technology Information Institute Library is also doing a great job online by providing all of us a free access to their ebook collection by registering on their form. And then at the same time, they're having an online campaign for like a trivia information, and they are sharing open access resources about a certain topic or subject. So there are, I would recommend and I would suggest to everyone to please look out their Facebook pages so that you could also use, especially for science and technology subjects. Next one, I saw also this on Facebook. The Biliran Province State University, ULRC, is also using their social media account in sharing online access resources from different sources. And next one, I'm not so sure if you're a fan of this one, but I really love checking this out or viewing this virtual assistant in the area of Iloilo. I would really congratulate the librarians in West Visayas State University for having Graciano and Berta from Central Philippine University for having this avatar for their virtual assistant. So who are they? They are the chatbot or avatar of those libraries in Iloilo, where the users or the bona fide users of the universities can easily chat them or message them and know more about the library services of each library. So this is trending right now. By using avatar, by using a chatbot where you can easily contact them, and I think this is a good step to make our libraries present online and make ourselves available online with our users. So check them out. They're doing a great job in providing and doing marketing, library promotion and marketing in their respective universities. So to end my present, what's happening next to our libraries? So librarians and library staff need to work together in promoting and marketing not only your resources but the library in general. With marketing and promotion, it's very important that we market ourselves, librarians, and at the same time, our libraries to continue as a center for information. Don't let the online world eat us. Don't let Google or Wikipedia eat us. So let us help one another to continue to promote that the library is the main source of the information. We provide information at the right time, at the right place, with the right customer. So I do believe that we have the skills to provide them the right information that they need for a specific use or for a specific question that they had in mind. So I am with you in this fight for promoting and marketing our libraries and our services and our e-resources or our resources at this moment. So sit down, have your coffee. It's okay to work it slowly, but make it sure that you're doing a perfect or a great or best strategy for your libraries. Do all your best for it, so that I know that one day you will be fulfilled with the response that we can get to our users. Sit down, plan, and implement it immediately as we are facing a new normal in libraries. Up to this moment, we're not sure until when this pandemic will end. We don't know until when. But while we're having this new normal, this ECQ or GCQ and or MGCQ, let's continue to work. Let's continue to serve our client. What I can suggest at the end, it's be inspired. uh, Go back with your purpose, go back with your vision, why you are a librarian and why you're doing this. It's because we wanted to serve. We wanted to continue to serve to our clients, and we want to help them out to look for the perfect and for the best resources that we can provide with them. May it be traditional, physically, or on the online world, we continue to do our best to serve our client. So with that, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for those for our attendees and for PLAI EVRLC for inviting me to share you my insights about library marketing and promotion for resource learning. Once again, maraming salamat po and good afternoon.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Sir Kevin Conrad Tansiongco, um, um, for accepting our invitation to be one of our speakers, because we believe you can share so much of your knowledge to our participants. But I believe all of our attendees, our 1,500 or more attendees right now, have gained so much knowledge on the different remote learning resources and how to promote their own libraries. But I have here one question, Sir Kevin.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
This is from Jean Jean Maurice Constantino. Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Given that we have limited budget for our library in terms of acquiring online resources, do you have samples or lists of open access resources for college that we can use as additional resources to our web bibliographies in our library website?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. I think since March, our library industry and our library family and communities continue to share open resources. Open resources are now available, and the good thing with that is our publishers are very good enough to extend their free access to their resources. Like for example, Springer is providing open access ebooks. App Store has
Springer.
it. Yeah, they have it. Another I just attended last Saturday, I think. Open Wiley also has it. So there's a lot of open access materials that you can look into to check on the links. And it's hard to enumerate right now. Actually, there is a lot of resources where you can get. What I can recommend or suggest right now, we have our advocacy group. We have I would also recommend Regalo Touching Live. Check on their Facebook pages. They also share their open access at the same time in my advocacy group, which is Magbasa Tayo Movement, and on my FB page, which is Candle Librarian. I keep on sharing open access materials, so please do like and keep yourself updated on that Facebook pages where you can access those materials. At the same time, please just make sure that when you're looking for open access, you are following the intellectual property law and copyright. Be careful in downloading and uploading in your own content or in your own system or website. Maybe the best thing right now is to use the links provided from those open access source. I could say you can check DOAB, DOAB, DOAJ, or the Directory of Open Access Journal and Directory of Open Access Books. And another thing for ebooks, Project Gutenberg and Free Filipiniana from UP. So there where you can get good open access ebooks and resources that you can use for your library services and e-resources. To look more into, check our Facebook pages so that you can find more resources for free and openly accessible. That's it.
All right, so that's it for today. Thank you so much, Sir Kevin Tansiongco. At this hour, I would like to give this
Ma'am?
certificate of appreciation. Sir,
Miss Bells, may mga tanong pa? We still have time pa ba?
yun lang po. Yun lang po yung question na send sa akin. Okay.
Sige pa.
Okay. So, I would like to read the certificate of appreciation. This Philippine Librarians Association Incorporated, Eastern Visayas Region Librarians Council gives a certificate to Mr. Kevin Conrad Tansiongco for imparting his valuable insights during the PLAI-Eastern webinar on remote learning resources and guidelines of libraries in the new normal. Given this 14th day of September 2020, signed Rodora Trisenia Navarro, PLAI-Eastern President, and Melanie Lynn Calope, Vice President of PLAI-Eastern. Thank you so much. And we will also be giving certificate of appreciation to Ma'am ELVIRA LAPUZ as one of our speakers. So this citation reads, certificate of appreciation is awarded to ELVIRA LAPUZ for imparting her valuable insights during the PLAI-Eastern seminar webinar on remote learning resources and guidelines of libraries in the new normal. Given this 14th day of September 2020, signed Rodora T. Navarro, PLAI-Eastern President, and Melanie Lim Calope, PLAI-Eastern Vice President. So, for your safety and comfort, please remain seated, for we are about to showcase the PLAI-Eastern officers who have been very supportive of this webinar. We are also about to witness the closing remarks to be delivered by the President of PLAI-Eastern Visayas Region Librarians Council. Let us all welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Ma'am Rodora T. Navarro.
Hello, everyone. To our very accommodating and energetic President of PLAI, Ma'am Emma, to our host, Regalo, through Sir Carlos Eclevia, to the speakers, Ma'am LV and Sir Kevin, and to the officers and members of PLAI-EBRLC, to the participants as well, good afternoon. Maupay nga kulok, ang magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. In every endeavor, there is always a beginning and an end. Since our webinar has come to an end, but it does not mean to say that our learnings will stop here. It is only the beginning of our journey in the new normal. I hope that the knowledge that we gain from this webinar will be a great help to us librarians in the delivery of library services to our clients. I know that librarians from Eastern Visayas are resilient during crisis, especially this pandemic. Kaya natin to, di ba, mga librarians? So in behalf of the Eastern Visayas Region Librarians Council, we would like to say thank you to the speakers for sharing their brilliant ideas, to the host, Regalo, through Sir Carlos, for sharing their platform, and to the participants, thank you for joining. Again, thank you sa lahat. And lastly, thank you to our Almighty Father for His guidance. Stay safe, everyone. And mabuhay ang mga librarians. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Rod. So please do not forget the evaluation form link. It's already flashed on your screen right now.
Officers mo naman.
The evaluation link will be available 24 hours, 1 hour after our webinar. So here is the link to the evaluation form so that you will be given e-certificates. And along with that, we will be giving the PowerPoint presentation of the speakers for the 2 topics. Here is the link. We have the link here, https://tinyurl.com/PLAI-EVRLC, and the pin code is normal with big letter L. Okay, so we have just ended our webinar on behalf of the Philippine Librarians Association Incorporated, Eastern Visayas Region Librarians Council, and Regalo Touching Lives. Thank you everyone for joining with us as we share another informative knowledge, skills, and ideas with you all. We hope to see you on board our next webinar. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. This has been your webinar host, Melanie Lynn Morales Carlopez, signing off.
Okay. So thank you po, Ms. Mels. Okay, for the benefit of all our participants, we have upcoming webinars po. Tomorrow po ito. If you already paid at the same time, forwarded the receipt of your payment to the main organizer, the PLAI Soxorgen Region Librarians Council, I hope you already received the notification and the links. This tomorrow po ito. So we have 3 sessions. The first one is libraries and librarians in the new normal, challenges, opportunities, and future directions. Then the second one is library as a teaching and learning resource center in the new normal. Then the last topic would be, can you see me now, opportunities to increase the visibility of libraries in the new normal. Then on Friday, we have this webinar, online library help, best practices in digital reference service. Our speaker would be Ms. Rizalyn Hanyo and 3 panelists. Then on Saturday, sponsored by UP LSAA, kakaroon po ng webinar din. Tip number 1, transformation, information professionals as instructional leaders. So for all the participants po, I hope you will register. Because kung hindi po kayo mag-register, definitely you will not receive any certificate. Okay, so that's for Regalo. Ma'am, you want to introduce, ma'am, the officers? Mike po.
Okay, sir. Okay, sige po. Okay, at this juncture, I would like to introduce to you our very active and very supportive officers of the Eastern Visayas Region Librarians Council. We have, on the first row, we have our board of directors.
Sige lang po.
Okay, so we have our board of director, Ma'am Chona, Maria Chona B. Rama. She is the head librarian of the National Maritime Polytechnic. And another board of director, Sir Marlon Lastima. He is the school librarian 3 of Southern Leyte State University. We also have our auditor, Mr. Vicente Gilos from Visayas State University. We also have our treasurer, Ma'am Florabel Kumar Banyares. Our head librarian of the University of the Philippines, Visayas Tacloban College Library. And we also have our secretary, Ma'am Celia Flor Lacosta, our head librarian of St. Paul's School of Professional Studies. And the vice president is yours truly, Melanie Lynn Calope, from college librarian from University of the Philippines, Visayas Tacloban College. And our president, Ma'am Rudora Navarro from Leyte Normal University. And we also have Ma'am Florita Cabato, our ex-officio. She is a retired librarian and an accreditor of AACUP accreditor, and also a library consultant. So that's all. Okay na po.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Sir Carlos.
All right. Thank you po.